Get out the wood panel and turn it so I get the owl over my shoulder a little bit.
Fucking Rob.
What? What?
Oh, he was like, he was like, we're counting down, don't talk, and you're just like
Talks
going
through the
on and
whole-
on. Please keep this in.
Sorry.
Okay.
Look how red I
Alright,
got.
Let
Look.
me. Welcome to back to Passed Out. It's a episode 2 of Highway Robbery. We've got our buddy Rob back with us. Say hey, Rob.
Disc bro.
I got some new discs, dude.
Wow. Fantastic. You've been
Yeah.
hitting up the courses?
No, I'm getting ready to go back though.
That's cool. Well, yeah, today we're going to be talking about Project Gateway, the GATE program again. This time getting Rob's feedback and his findings and experiences. And I also heard that you have a list of porn stars who made it mainstream, and we went a little over the celebrities last podcast, and we're really excited because it included Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, if I'm not mistaken, and one of the guys from Friends, Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, I don't have so much about Arnold like I thought I did. I think he just had like a couple of softcore ones. But yeah, I would call it more of a desperation list. Um,
Okay,
uh,
so
a
these
mouthful of
celebrities.
hope, maybe. I don't know.
Could you imagine? I'd pay. I really want to see an Arnold Schwarzenegger porno. Like
You
could
could
you
probably
imagine?
find them.
He just, yeah, I'm going to come.
It's not a tumor.
Oh, it feels so good. So okay, his was soft porn.
Who's his daddy and what does he do?
Bro, my favorite impression of Arnold has always been when he was running for governor, and like they would have like the cutout of his face on Conan O'Brien, and they would just stick the guy with the lips through, and he'd be like, they're like, "What's your plan for education, Arnold?" He's like, "We're going to put them in the auditorium and make them watch T3 Rise of the Machines."
What was Sylvester Stallone's part in all this? He was in a porno? I had no idea.
Do you want to cover that
That's where it
list
comes
first?
from. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's go
Sure.
into
Yeah.
All right. So, because I have like notes and stuff. All right. So the movie that Sly was originally going to be in was a hardcore film called The Party at Kitties and Studs, and he was actually in that before like his first two leading roles. Like this is like way before Rocky, but I guess it came out later, like during like while his career was at a peak of sorts, and from what they were saying, like I don't remember, I was too young probably when there was like allegations about him being in porn, but I guess he just shrugged it off. He's like, I wouldn't have eaten if it wasn't for that, so yeah, fuck it. But you know, if he really is from Philly, I'd be kind of curious to know. I bet you that's like, you know, that could be a pretty open-minded porno.
Adrian.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. Did you guys know about Dick Van Dyke's daughter or granddaughter, maybe?
Is her name Pussy Van
Kelly
Dyke?
Jean Van Dyke. She was a child star first, and her career started to dry up as an adult. So um, she turned to
Dry up.
porn later as Nancy Kelly, but she had a
Why
really
does that
sad
sound
end to her
familiar?
life. Huh?
Why does that sound familiar, Nancy Kelly?
Because I think it was pretty hardcore, apparently. But yeah, she is no longer with us. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Who's
I
the
thought you were.
chick? She wasn't on your guys' list, but who's the redhead from Disney who's like a porn star now? There's like a redhead girl who was on Disney Channel who's a porn star now, and she, I feel like she was getting a lot of flack. You guys keep talking about something else, but I'll find it.
There was Tasha Rain who was in Laguna Beach, but she wasn't really like a big character. I actually met her when I worked at Sapphire, and she was pretty cool. First thing she said to me, she was like, "I have a plastic surgeon named Arash," and then she basically my job was to make sure she didn't go crazy on Twitter because she was doing a Twitter takeover over there. And then at the end of the night, she was asking me, this is the biggest cock block I've ever had in my life. She was like, "Can you give me a ride back to the hotel?" And I was like, "Hell yeah." And my boss is like, "Oh, no, no, we'll get someone for you." Oh, that bitch, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if she was, blowing you, how much power would you have to tell her to stop showing her snatch on Twitter, though?
Actually, you know what though? Like, look at me. But I wasn't attracted to her. So like, um, yeah. But I just for the story, that would have been cool, whether I partook in it or not. But you know, I like my dick attached to me. It's always good.
Yeah. Do you guys remember A Christmas Story?
Yes.
Do you remember the kid who stuck his tongue to the fucking pole? So apparently, he was in a movie called Scotty's X-Rated Adventure because he got typecast for being a child star. His name is Scott Schwartz.
And did he use his tongue again?
I don't know. I did not watch that one. Honestly, I think I started and stopped at Holly Sampson and Sasha Grey.
Oh, so you don't
Uh,
know if he shot the eye out?
that was a different kid, man.
I know, but still, same fucking movie.
Quick question, Rob. When you were researching this, did your lady like ever catch you researching? How did that go when she found
It
you
was YouTube
researching?
videos. No, it was
Oh
YouTube
no,
videos. Yeah, no, I mean, actually, no, I did go on a couple X-rated websites, but
all for
she
research.
doesn't really care about that. She just
It's all for
doesn't,
science.
she just doesn't want me buying gifts for OnlyFans girls because it takes away from the gifts that I buy for. Well, other than that, so.
Understandable. Do you have an OnlyFans, Rob? Do you have an OnlyFans?
I did, but I deleted it.
What? Could you go through what kind of content you had on there?
It was really sad content. It was mostly me just playing the guitar, but like not naked or anything. It was just trying to get sympathy porn from like OnlyFans girls.
It's not a bad
Maybe a
idea.
discount because I, have a nice guitar or something. I don't know.
Did the girls think you had a nice guitar?
Never actually got that far.
Do you ever send
Mostly
a
it was
guitar
like
pic?
the most they ever said was something along the lines of, "That's a nice guitar. Let me show you my butthole," and that was fine with me.
Was it a nice little, cool little starfish?
Sometimes
Okay, so it happened more than once. All right, way to go, Rob.
it's not always pretty, but you spit on it and fuck it all the same.
Cool, you heard it here first. Um, Now Sasha Grey is one I'm familiar with. I know she was on what was that show called? There was a bunch of dudes doing bro shit.
Oh, Entourage.
Entourage, yes. I saw her
Yeah,
on there. That's the only time I've ever seen her.
but wasn't she
Um,
playing herself? I wouldn't call that acting.
I think
Was
she
she?
always plays herself.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I
She
mean,
is one dirty chick, dude. But like
yeah,
I say that in like kind of
yeah.
a
Oh, believe me,
endearing
that's
way.
one of the ones I watched, and I was like, "Ooh, that's dirty."
Yeah, she was like she would yell at the dudes and be like, I can't even say it on here, but it was like
Yeah, no need.
basically talking shit. And
Yeah.
I recommend anyone uh, to go check it out for science and see what that's all about because wow. Wow. I don't know what I would do if I ever like experienced that. I'd maybe just be crying. Well, I don't know. I don't know. You mentioned another name with Sasha Grey earlier.
What's
I want to
that?
hear about Helen Mirren. What is Helen Mirren was in
I
porn?
didn't actually find much on her.
Oh, okay.
Um, but Dustin Diamond, though,
Oh
he
no.
produced his own movie that he put out as a fake, like a fake bootleg or whatever,
Hmm.
No, it was the
and he
Tom.
called it "Saved by the Smell."
Oh, no, I gotta hit my vape after hearing that.
And then Tom Sizemore, had one, and he had like falsely claimed that Paris Hilton was in it. So
I kind of remember that.
yeah,
What a great name for porn though, Sizemore. It doesn't get better than that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Cameron Diaz pretty much came up dry. Uh, she actually paid a whole lot of money to have her shit buried.
Hers were just pictures though, right?
I, yeah, I don't know. She paid like $3 million to have that shit buried. The Mask or something like that, or after
She
the
was
Mask, maybe.
banging. She was banging in the
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, okay. Do you remember the Wonder Years?
hmm.
Do you remember the girl that the kid falls in love with on the beach? Her name is Holly Sampson. She is a porno. She actually had a few of them, hardcore and softcore. She went back and forth between that shit.
Awesome.
So if you're
Very
into the
cool.
Wonder Years and seeing that girl's butthole, probably be done. I found a couple of them, but like with her is like more of like a cougar more than than when she was younger. But I'm sure you want to hear more about Adam West.
We were
We
discussing that.
talked about it on the last podcast.
We were concerned that him and Rocky were going to be in the same porno and how that would sound. And I'm still thinking about it a few days later and disturbed. But what did Adam West do?
So I guess he just did some like softcore stuff. It was like just like odds and ends, like after Batman, because he was being like typecast. Like apparently he started over from like the bottom, and the way that the narrator was talking about it in the YouTube video is suggestible he might have taken one in the keister. I don't know, but it wasn't from Sly Stallone.
I'd like to imagine it being what's up, Josh? I would like
Maybe
to
I don't
think
know.
I'd like to think that at least in one of the pornos, as it's like clapping cheeks, is like bam, bang, clap, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, between scenes. If they didn't do that, that was a waste,
It'd be
complete
a
waste.
waste. Yeah,
Cesar Romano directing.
yeah.
We did
The
talk
last one
about
I
the
have is
Joker.
Matt LeBlanc.
We did.
And it wasn't actually porn, but he was in this like 30-minute softcore series called The Red Shoe Diaries
I
with David
remember that.
Duchovny
I
narrating it.
remember that,
And
dude.
it was like 30 minutes of softcore.
I don't remember him being in it, but I remember Red Shoe Diaries. I remember I was at the Penthouse and the MGM, and I was super stoked that we had like HBO that or whatever channel it was that had that on, and Skinemax. His would be called Friends with Benefits. Pretty
What?
good, I guess. His porno, Hoey.
But yeah, other than that, and yeah, Sly Stallone's movie, I guess it got changed to Italian Stallion.
Is that
So
a
that's what everyone
softcore?
knows it as, rather than the party at Kitty and Studs or whatever.
Still kind of disturbing. I'm glad I never knew about it and that I've never seen it, and I'm going to keep it that way. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
I
heard
think
about
most
it.
people know Tracy Lords. She
I
started
Who
the
is
porn.
Tracy Lords again? Didn't she have like a techno song or something in the 90s?
Well, she was featured in a lot of Lords of Acid music.
Okay.
Do you know Lords of Acid?
I know I've
Sit on my
heard there's.
face. You're gonna sit on my face.
Was that the script of her movie?
No, no, no. That's like the lyrics to one of their songs called "Sit on Your Face." Yeah,
Now
it was just
speaking.
like Tracy Lords making a bunch of sexual noises over an electro beat. Like,
Ah. Oh, okay. I can. I'm
Kind of
not
like
even gonna.
porn step.
well,
Hey,
no, because it
dude.
was like electro. It was like techno. So it was like,
There was somebody when dubstep was really popular. There was somebody who was actually making porn step where they were just taking like moans from porn songs and throwing them into the drops. Where it was like, and then
see,
So
if I
there's
was gonna do that, I would use like the sound of a turtle while they were coming or something.
So there is this really, you guys know what lost media is? when people try to find like songs or like short videos from something, but they don't know where the fuck it's from, so they post it like on a Reddit forum. There's a website before the Reddit forum started, and someone had a clip of this song and it sounded very 80s, and everybody's like, "Oh man, this sounds familiar," but then it doesn't. And then you could kind of hear like some type of percussion like this in the background, like that. And lo and behold, like 20 years later, they find out it's some German band and it was featured in a porno. And it was like Clapping Cheeks. And that's what the Clapping Cheeks were. So this dude had to like investigate like all these different pornos because he was like, I don't know, that sounds like sex. So he watched a bunch of video like pornos from 85 to like 87. The song ended up being a song from like 1982.
Probably took him
And
all afternoon. He's like, just another Tuesday. Fap, fap,
that's
fap.
that's totally what I thought you were doing for the research on this podcast, Rob.
That's why I had to change it to Gateway because I'm like, I touched my dick too much this week.
Cool.
Wait, what?
Like if somebody was trying to figure out a song that was like from a porn that they saw just in the modern age, there's just so much porn nowadays, like you wouldn't be able to find it.
But it's a
Dude, that'd be a
lost
great
art.
place to make sample packs from like
Yeah.
pornos.
But they don't really, um, as far as I know, I haven't really heard music on pornos anymore. Like that's a lost art.
It's like so on like the official channels for like Brazzers or like one of the big ones, they'll have like the girls do like a bikini strip to like an electronic song, and then as soon as the dude comes in, the music's done. So it's pretty much just so they can oil up a chick in a bikini and have her twerk. Like, that's what music's for nowadays. It's not like the bow,
Cool.
bow, bow. Like in the 80s, there was just like always like that, like kind of like 80s like porn groove going on.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I still remember a Tara Patrick video from like the early 2000s where the bass line was so catchy I had to learn it. It was like ba-na, ba-ba-na, bam, ba-na, ba-ba-na, 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 bam, ba-na, ba-ba. Like to
Do you
this
have a
day when
figure out
I'm
who wrote
warming
the
up.
song?
Um no, but I need to use well, I mean, I guess I could look it up, but I'd rather use does Shazam allow you to whistle now? There was some music recognition program where you could. I'll have to check it out. I would hum our own songs, like to see if it recognizes it. Yeah, yeah. If you play the song, yes, you could Shazam it, but by humming it would be really fucking awesome. Just have it sound like something completely different and popular, so that way our song could possibly come up if it's like just sung in the wrong register. Marketing. Now elaborate.
Like softcore?
I think James Gunn may have had something to do with PG porn, but it was basically just like it was like they'd get like Nathan Fillion like as like a construction worker, and it's just like a sketch, and then they'd just like have all the like they'd always have like the chick who's like trying to get fucked, like the fucking housewife, and the guys are like actually drilling stuff. And they're like, what? No, no, I'm good. Like I don't. And they were like 3-minute videos, and they'd be like PG porn.
Oh, because it was like everything that had happened before the actual fucking.
Yes, Rob. Yeah. Josh, please ask the question of the week.
Rob, I want to know what you dream about. Just how weird?
I
How
don't
weird
really
are your
remember them,
dreams?
dude. I've been trying to make journals, and I can't even remember it to even write down a sentence sometimes. Like sometimes it'll be like on the front of my brain, and like the vibe will be there, but like very rarely do I actually remember. But when I do, it's like super vivid shit that I don't forget.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so like,
Tell us one of those. Tell us a super vivid dream you've had that you did not.
Uh, so there was like a nonsensical one that I had maybe
perfect.
6 months or a year ago, and I was cruising around on the lake or over the lake beds on like a parachute or paraglider or something like that. And I get to some weird place. I guess it was another country. And but it wasn't like Mexico, which didn't make any sense. It was like a European country. And I realized that I didn't have my vape, so I climbed a tree and bought a pack of cigarettes from a girl in a treehouse. Um, and then like right after that, just like hard transitions to me and then my son, like when he's like a young teen, and we're just like walking around like on like the sidewalk in a suburban place, and we see like a guy that has like weed plants outside, so I'm like taking his weed off the plant. And I don't know, like so much weird shit in that one. It just that one went all over the fucking place. But the most memorable part was like the treehouse. Um which I still can't understand. Like, why would I buy cigarettes when I was out of vape? Like, was I really that weak that I was just like reverting back to the original addiction, you know? I don't know.
I totally am.
So there was actually a reoccurring dream that I had for like 20 years, like every night almost.
I think you went over this, but say it again to refresh our
Did
memory.
did I talk about this last
I
time?
think so, but go ahead and say it again.
Um, so long story short, like, I started having the dream as a very young man or young child actually, and like 5 or 6 years old, all the way up until my mid 20s. And in the dream when it starts, I'm like, it's like a first person, um, like perspective, like you would,
So just like real life.
yeah. And I'm holding a rifle, like specifically like a HK or something like that, like an assault rifle, but like an advanced one more advanced than I've ever seen even today. And I think it was just like a fancy FNFAL because like they have like that handle, and it makes them look fancier than they are. Kind of like the Ibanez Steve Vai guitar with the fucking weird handle thing
Yes,
shit in
yes,
the middle
yes.
of it.
Yep.
Um,
I like that.
I
It's
don't hate
very
it.
good
I'm just saying
utility.
that's what it reminds me of. But so in the dream, like I can remember like so many different variables. Like the the sky was like overcast, and like on the left side of the street there was like these four Sears homes from like they were built in the 40s from like old Sears catalog. And the third one out of the fourth was turned sideways, so the front door was facing sideways and the side door was facing front way. And so I go in the front door, which technically would have been the side door. And with those floor plans, when you go in the side like that, you can either go up into the kitchen or it diverts and goes right and then down into a basement.
That's
Well,
crazy. We'll come back to why that's crazy in a second. That is insane. But keep going.
so for whatever reason, I set my rifle down outside the door and I go down into the basement. The first few stairs are normal. I turn, and then the next three stairs are fucking huge. Like, not like comically huge, just like, what the fuck huge. Like, you can climb up them, but it's going to take a bit more effort than a regular stair. And, as soon as I guess I took my shoes off too, because as soon as my socks hit the linoleum, which was like a checkerboard pattern, drop ceilings, typical, Sears basement, or, for those types of homes, like the stuff that you would find down there. But it was empty, right? And these four beings come out of this back room and hold me down, and they're like putting something in my left eye, and then I just wake up.
Okay, so you've been researching Mall World, right?
I was looking at Mall World a little bit. I didn't see anything about beings attacking people or any.
Oh,
I
you
don't
didn't
even
look.
know if it was like I would even consider it an attack anymore. Like I consider it more of like a celestial initiation, just misunderstood because of the I didn't understand the context,
Okay,
that
so
that
I'm
it
gonna
hit.
jump into Mall World right now. So Mall World, it's not the I guess the most popular theory about it is that it's a shared consciousness space. That when people dream, they go to what's typically a mall, but outside of the mall area, there's a place like the suburban area that you described, There's also like a coastline with like a big hotel, uh, some speedboats and transport boats on there too. There's windy freeways. There's like a downtown area strip mall kind of thing that like you would see in Santa Monica or something like that. Um, and those are generally the most popular areas. And then the mall itself is very eclectic, I guess you could say. It's very diverse in its topography, and there's a lot of things there that people see. And the reason why I kind of tripped out when you talked about the the Sears home is because myself included, and when you said overcast too, I kind of tripped out. A lot of the times people see like a red overcast sky. I don't know if that's what you saw or not, but besides that point,
Not in that particular recurring experience, but I told you about when I portal shifted though,
yes, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like there was red skies then. So,
Okay. But with the Sears home, it's a very common thing that when you enter, there's a kitchen, just like you described, and then there's two stairs leading upstairs, and people for some reason always go downstairs to the basement. I
hmm,
I I don't want to say always, but like pretty much everyone that I've read about, they go
hmm.
downstairs and weird shit happens. I've had a dream where I woke up inside the house and the layout was just like you described. Went
And
outside.
you woke up upstairs?
No, like in the kitchen dining room area thingy. So like I didn't
Okay,
go
so
upstairs or
like the
downstairs.
dream started in the kitchen for you.
Yes. Like it was like a living area,
Wild.
but there was like a kitchen, like a bar kind of like a separation wall, but like you could see the kitchen through the wall I don't know if I'm describing it properly, but
Partition.
basically a partition.
Like a partial
Partition.
partition. Yeah.
Yes, partial partition. And I go outside and the sky is overcast with red. And then there's this limo driver who is like has his trunk open and then he throws me in the trunk, dream over. But when you describe that, it, I mean, I guess it's not too uncommon to dream about a home with that type of setup, but you kind of nailed it to a T when you did that.
Was there
Now,
just like an empty field with a forest across the street? Like a tree line, maybe like half a football field in?
there were
Because
no
like
homes like in the
there's no homes across the street. It's just like it's like the biggest
yeah.
tree line you've ever seen with like a bunch of trees and then like maybe 50 yards worth of grass in between the street and the trees.
I don't know if this is a
On
false
one
memory or not,
side,
but
and on
that
the
sounds
other side
pretty.
was four houses, and the odd one out was turned sideways.
No, I know there was a house to the right of me when I exited.
There would have been a house on either side. There would have been two
Okay,
on
I
one
didn't
side and one
notice
on
a
the other.
house to the left, or there could have been, but definitely nothing across the street.
Yeah.
But the mall one is a very weird one because people describe the mall and certain things within, and it's always very vivid for me. And a lot of there's like always dirty bathrooms for some reason. A lot of people float. Um, a lot of people end up there naked for some reason and like they're being followed. I had that dream. Go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the thing about astral travel is a lot of people have uh, difficulties separating from their body from the experiences that I've uh, done a little bit of research on people's like individual accounts, like messing with the gateway experience, at least the gateway experience by Bob Monroe. Um, the participants they were like individuals that bought the CDs or whatever, and they always had this like weird thing where they're like, "Oh no, I feel like I'm dying," and they just they'd only get like a few inches away from their body, and they would just like fall back in. Um, but
Now,
there was an interview with Bob Serto, um, or not Mark Serto, which was Bob Monroe's producer, and I listened to the interview a couple times over, and I think I have a basic recipe for how they were making those, and it involves EEG recordings. layering EEG recordings with 2 sine waves that are detuned, and then a noise, like a noise on top of that for like, and then probably compression.
Did you ever get tested for a gifted program when, I don't know, you were in Ohio or South Carolina, but it would have been from grades 3 to 5?
Yeah, see, in third grade, I had like a family thing that happened where I had to go move in with my dad, and I
Right.
ended up
Okay.
living in like a really decent, well, suburban, uh, you know, school district that had, support like that to a more city-based school system that barely had support for its staff. So yeah, I think if I was, um, I slipped through the cracks.
Okay. Now, sorry for
Because
hijacking this, Josh,
no,
but
no, no, you're fine. Because the thing is, I've actually like astral projected on accident before, a couple of times.
okay.
It happened like 2022.
And what happened?
The first time it was like a daydream, and I was like in the I was like in a cuck chair watching a three-way happen, but like the bodies were like they weren't distinguishable, right? Like there weren't distinguishable like facial features for me to make out. So it was actually really confusing. And then the other one was, and this one was even more fucked up than that. Uh, that was that was nice compared to the other one. The other one basically, all of a sudden, I just had like a first person view of this guy that's like white knuckling it on the steering wheel as it's going through guardrails, uh, like it over like into a fucking ravine,
Uh-huh. So
and
maybe you
like and
saw
it
someone's
hits
last moments?
water. Yeah, somebody's last moments basically hitting water in a fucking tragic accident. Um,
Unrelated, kind of, but the first dream I can remember, I don't know if I talked about this yet in the podcast. Short-term memory is a bitch. But there was a chick, like a pretty looking chick, but I was like 4 years old. I didn't know what pretty was, but like the way I picture it now, she was probably 10 years older than me at the time. She was probably like a
mm,
teen.
mm.
And she's standing at this ledge at a cliff, and I just like fucking basically like Spartan kick her off this cliff and look over. And that's like my first fucking dream that I can remember. I remember it to this day, like just kind of like more. I hadn't even played Mortal Kombat yet, so I didn't even know like I don't know why it was a violent dream, but that's my first dream. Kind of reminds me of that. Um, okay, so
Ancient Persian memories. Just this is Sparta.
happened to me, and I'm just like reliving it as a Spartan. Okay, so you brought up Project Gateway, which is kind of what I wanted to get to. So I'll kind of just explain it before we go into it. So 1958, I want to say, sometime around there, the Soviets released Sputnik, and up until then, uh, World War II especially thought that they were the leaders, innovators of the world, and that really fucked them up. That scared them, and it proved that the Soviets, at least at that time, were quite ahead of us in technology, and the space race was on from that point on. And from from that point, the government started looking for high IQ students to identify and to place into special programs. That's when counselors were brought into schools. And the reason was to cultivate that education for these higher IQ students and make sure they were on a path to go into, I'm sure, Ivy League schools, MIT, things like that. And uh, in the I think, mid 70s, it started changing. They didn't look for IQ anymore. That wasn't like the sole basis of identifying potential students. And this correlates with Project Gateway because that's when remote viewing really started. And so they were looking more for students who had traits of kind of like who did not like authority. For some reason, and I'm pretty sure this is documented. I wish I had it to show it up here, but maybe I could put the link in below after we record this. But um, some sort of trauma in their life. So like, especially drowning. And I've had a drowning experience. I think I want to say two, one for sure. And Josh and I talked about this, the little bump behind your head. They're just weird things that the government was looking for at that point for,
So I feel like I have that,
yeah, apparently that's not
but
normal.
it's hard to tell with my hair up. Hold on.
Dude, I could feel it through my
Yeah, it's
beanie, like fine. Like even my ponytail, I could just feel it. Oh, I don't have the
it's like right
ponytail
at
on
the
anymore. I'm an
base of
idiot.
it's like at the base in the back, right?
Yeah, like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's huge. Mine is huge. That's what she said, but not to me. Yeah, so there's a lot of, and for some reason in my life, and I'm Middle Eastern, so I don't know why this is true for me, but I've had good luck with cops each and every time. The worst that's ever happened is a ticket for like not stopping at a red light, but even when I've had like stuff on me, they've been really lenient, and that's another one of these traits that people, I don't want to say possess, but it's another commonality that people who were in the GATE program have for whatever reason. It could all be bullshit, but there's just a lot of things. And I'm going to put a link to the Reddit post that has all these commonalities between each person. But um, yeah,
Yeah, my
what do you,
my partner actually said that she was in the gifted and talented program, but in the mundane part of it.
so
Like
did
I
she get
guess
tested? Because
like
they
she
do
said
like
it
a
was
hemi
like normal
sync.
stuff. Like there was nothing related to like weird headphones, guessing which side the sound was going to come out of. Flash cards were pretty normal. There was no, pink fluoride drink. There was
Yeah, I didn't have that
the most
either.
interesting thing they did was they built a solar panel at the end of the year. But at the same
That's
time,
cool.
there was still a mundane part of that organization that
Where did she
had to
grow up?
exist. What?
Where did she grow up?
Las Vegas?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what high school, but
No,
uh,
that's well. This would have been late elementary school, so like second to fifth, sixth
probably been
grade.
like 95 for her,
Uh,
96.
yeah, if she's my
But she's
age,
2 years
then
younger than me because
okay.
I was
So
in sixth
she's
grade
about my
then.
age.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting. Josh, you have any new findings on since
I
last time we spoke about this?
I have a I kind of just have a clarification because I just don't have a good grasp of it. But what is the difference between astral projection and remote viewing, or are they the same thing?
So astral projection is it's not like so remote viewing. I'll say what remote viewing is. Remote viewing is typically done by a few people who are given coordinates to a place. And the person giving the coordinates, or sometimes it's a double blind, meaning the person having the coordinates doesn't even know what the fuck it is. But there's the control person who has what the coordinates mean. And then these people are asked to just put like a blindfold on and then to basically shut down all their senses, and they're told to like draw, write down whatever senses come to them, whether it's smell, sight, feeling, and then they compare those notes together and extrapolate the commonalities between them. So like Joe McMoneagle is a famous one who saw shit on Mars. Ingo Swann is another. We talked about Pat Price last time, who was a cop in the city that I was raised in. Um, and astral projection is more. I mean, a lot of people do astral project by doing the hemisync method, but people like Rob, they'll sometimes just blast off. But explain. I'm sure you know better, Rob. Well, how would you to
Yeah, I
characterize
mean, I
astral
guess
projection?
like, I think with remote viewing, like you might not need to astral project to do it, but like basically you're just viewing an like you're utilizing that same space that you would to astral project, but you're just using it to view another place rather than astral projecting. You're literally projecting your energy to that place. So you don't necessarily need to be there to view it. Um, I guess what Mark Serto was saying was that when Bob Monroe had introduced it to the CIA, that's kind of how men who stare at goats came to become a thing, or that whole phenomenon. But the reason why the program failed is because once you hit that point of unification between your spirit and your heart or whatever, like there's no way to weaponize it. You wouldn't willfully harm somebody, especially not for, reasons of capitalism, you know, uh maybe in self-defense.
Or espionage?
Um
Oh, that's when
I
remote viewing
feel like
comes in because
I'm
you're given
almost
coordinates.
predisposed to that though. Like because of my ancestry, like my Norse ancestry specifically, like I have connections to like berserkers and shit, and like there was a particular gift that they had involving dissociation to be able to like astrally shift. And like the only times I've ever successfully been able to do it, I've been able to do it maybe one time where it wasn't like emotionally charged, where I was interacting with a psychic on her show. I think she was operating off of YouTube or TikTok or something like that. Um, but what happened then was basically I saw, like, it was really weird. It was like my aura around my head shifted to almost like a semi-transparent mask that looked like a wolf. Like I had like a wolf mask on, but it was like made out of light. Um, and then the only other instances I have where is my, you know, Arash, my partner is sensitive as well. Um, especially when I was, working with a psychiatrist, with, stimulant-based ADHD medication. She said that my shit had amplified so much that when I get mad, she could almost see my aura become like fucking man bear pig. As funny as that sounds, like the scary way. Not as playful as Al Gore. um, but yeah, I think that's like where the different there was like different factions amongst the berserkers, like different like spirit animals, if you will. Not to like,
Continuing from where you were talking about, Rob, was a lot of ancient cultures, almost every ancient culture that I've seen has, in one way or another, astral projected, whether it was through drugs, the ceremonies, you name it. But it's interesting that I haven't looked into the berserkers from the Nordics yet. But yeah, Josh, any thoughts, or like any questions about astral projecting,
that was
remote
my
viewing?
shaky.
Oh shit! Oh shit! What is it?
Sidewalks, the streets are fucking flooding. There's like cars flying through the water. And then I go inside the casino, and it's not a casino. Like the whole thing shifts and it's like a convention center. And then I go up these stairs, and it's like a convention, and it's like a high class fucking dinner. And there's like people flying on the fucking, and there's like people dancing in the fucking, like on the roof, like just like hovering and dancing. And then I wake up and it's like,
That's a very mall world dream. Two commonalities from the dreams that you mentioned, or maybe even three, but one, flooding is a very common thing, especially when you like in dreams where people are flying too, including yourself. I've had that. There's a section of the mall world um, called like the pool rooms, which is also a backrooms thing. But yeah, and it's almost always flooding, and I've personally seen like dead bodies in the water before in the pool world. Uh, but the flying thing is another very common one, like, and the whole like guardrail thing outside over water. That's kind of like the area I was talking about with the sailboats and stuff. That's usually where they are, but yours obviously, since it had cars, is probably a road. Is there anything else you remember from those, or is that pretty much? Yes, I've had dreams to where I'll wake up, I'll sleep again, and continue the fucking dream.
Dude, that
It's
happens to
crazy.
me a lot too. Like I fall right back into the same place I was. I'm like, holy shit. It's always weird though. Like it's never linear. And like I feel like dreams, I feel like you jump around a little bit, like but like the environment's almost the same. Like it feels like the same place, but things are changing, but like all the really like all the details are just like so like blurry almost.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. The whole mall world phenomenon is really captured my interest because sometimes people will post AI photos of these places, and it just takes me back to some of my most vivid dreams. And oh man, some of these dreams that I've had, like that involve some of the places that people post about, they're just some of the most insane essentialist type dreams I've ever had. I don't know what the fuck it means, but I'm definitely down that rabbit hole. What do you think these dreams mean, or Rob, either one of you? So Mall World is, it doesn't have levels. Like Backrooms is more like liminal spaces that you have to find like a portal to get to the next area or next level. And Mall World is just it's just like a big map basically. Like you could travel by foot to one place or another, and there's other people there that supposedly are having the same type of dream as you, or could be different based on what they're doing. But the theory is like if you cross paths with someone and you know them in real life or something, then if you were to ask them about the dream, they'd be like, "Yeah, I saw you in that dream." I've never seen anybody that I know in a mall world dream, though. That's another weird thing. Never.
Yeah, I don't really feel
Domo.
like I ever see people I know. Like I see Laurel in dreams, but like that's it.
Yeah, but are they like vivid dreams or are they just like random dreams? Really? Oh, that's another.
Do-
So,
my my partner Dominique has said when we first started dating that she didn't tell me straight out, but her and her friend would be like having a conversation about the conversation they had in a dream.
crazy.
Like like they didn't sleep in the same place. They, were just talking over FaceTime. I was like, wow, she could straight up just visit you in your dreams. That'd be crazy.
I've had one dream like that I can remember is me and my sister, we were really young and shared a room, and we saw this, both saw a UFO. The only difference was hers was like a purple color, which is her favorite color as a kid, and mine was green, which was my favorite color as a kid. And then there was a fucking frisbee in the area because it took place in our backyard. We lived in a little duplex, and there was a frisbee that didn't belong to us or the neighbors chilling in that fucking spot. Weird. Yeah. But Josh, you should start writing these dreams with Laurel. These end of the world dreams are also becoming a common thing. That's another Reddit subreddit that has captured my attention. It's called Anon's Prophetic Dream, something like that. I'm butchering it. Sorry, but um, yeah, it's talking about a few things that are kind of like going on right now, but everybody kind of knew that Israel and Iran were going to fight, so that's not like a big thing. But it talks about like Russia coming through Texas and aligning with the Central American countries. And yeah, it's a very detailed dream that he talks about that other people supposedly shared. It involves aliens coming in and like using us as like fuel in a way, not like the Matrix, but they'll like also rip your skin off and wear it and hunt humans. It's a very scary, trippy subreddit.
They put the lotion in the basket.
Yes, mine's usually
Yes and
5 o'clock.
no.
5 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
I do. I one of the times that I wake up is super fucking cliche, but like it's
Witching
like
hour.
very yeah. I wake up at
Yeah.
3:34 a lot. Like I will look at the clock
Same.
and it's 3:34, and I'm like, was I just abducted by fucking aliens at 3:33? Like, have you like the theory that like alien abductions always happen at 3:33 and like all the clocks freeze?
What?
I mean, just because you wake up at that time doesn't mean you're being abducted, though. But you could
No,
just
no,
be
but
waking
that
up at
I
the
know, but
witching
he's
hour.
that's not what he's saying.
but there is a commonality. There's a whole thing. There's a Mia Jovovich movie where like it's like half her reenacting videos of people who that they have people who have said that they were abducted by aliens and then they were hypnotized, and then during the hypnotization session these people would fucking levitate. And
Jacques Vallée's books talk about this. I'm reading The Invisible College right now, but I don't think it's that. Annie Jacobson as well. I wish I remembered the name, but there is a Jacques Vallée and oh my gosh, I'm so bad with names. But he talks. He was like a psychologist before, and he started talking to people who had abduction experiences, and he found like common psychological traits between these people, and he scanned their brains, and they all had like similar, like they shared a similarity that only they had compared to the rest of the population. Yeah.
Like in the brainwave cycles or something. Speaking of which, we're starting to run out of time, I think. If you guys are like keeping it to an hour.
We
Josh,
keep it
if you
generally
come
about an hour.
across okay. You should see if you could find some EEG audio recordings. I've been trying to find them, but I can't find any. And I guess they're usually HIPAA protected unless they're like in an open source format. But any of like the open source places I've been, like I think one of them was like Neurosource or something like that. Like none of the files are like WAV files or AIFF or nothing like that.
John Mack, that's his name, John E. Mack, an American psychiatrist, writer, and professor of psychiatry. And he was absolutely shunned by the psychiatry community. Yeah, he has a bunch of cool books that talk about that phenomenon. But the EKG thing, is it called EKG? EEG, yes. But for there has to be something with frequencies that, I mean, it's basically proven by the Monroe Institute that those files were released by the CIA.
I mean, the thing about Bob Monroe is though, like none of it's actually like verified, right? Like these are just like experimental things that he did with the CIA that didn't really pan out to anything. And their explanation was that, there was only a couple of people that actually succeeded. I listened to the testimonials from like maybe 5 different people on YouTube that were talking about, how they were, how they had bought the CDs and, done it for years. And they're like, we hit, a certain plateau and couldn't go farther than that. But, listening to people's experiences though, from like the GATE program, there was 2 different divisions within that program. There was the mundane division that was there for what they claimed the whole thing was there to do in the first place, which was provide, extra stimulation for, kids with either learning disabilities or additional learning capabilities. And then there was the, I guess that was like what they were doing in public schools, but in private schools, like especially with people who claim to have parents like in, either as a CIA operative or some type of government employee that has secret clearance, that they had done some of this testing that you hear about, as far as like rumors or whatever, that it was like
It's not rumor.
involving intuition.
I've literally had
Well, I
those
mean,
tests
it's
though.
it's still hearsay. Yeah,
Well, that's not
okay.
hearsay. I've experienced it firsthand.
Okay.
Those tests. Yeah.
Okay. I
So
mean, I'm just saying for
those
me though,
definitely happen.
from my experience, I did not have those
These
experiences. So
documents
from my
are
perspective,
released.
yeah.
It's not a secret anymore. These files were released about these methods being used on children. It's not even a conspiracy. That's proven fact. The conspiracy
So
is,
you were
what the
part of
fuck did they do it
the
for? I don't know. I
right.
don't think I wasn't part of MK Ultra. I don't know if I don't know what the fuck they tested me for. But it is odd that they would do these type of tests on children. Like, that's what we're trying to figure out, is like why they did it, not if they did, because they 100% did it
I mean, it's
throughout the
100%
US.
logical why you would want to, man. After that whole Sputnik effect, they wanted to, at the very least, identify, the people with the most potential at their earliest, so that way they could, in essence, incubate that potential to further stabilize national security.
Right,
Like
but
that, that's just
I
like the logical standpoint of why they would do that. But when you
I
consider
agree
like
with that,
other reasons,
but when you shift it from IQ to like these weird, and as you say, and I agree with you, unproven methods, like guess which card I'm holding, or what frequency do you expect to hear next, or like
and there
close
are
your
people
eye.
that can do that.
Yeah, but then those things then I don't see where you're lining up then. So you're saying people can do that, and then also people that like, then it's bullshit. So
No, I'm saying I don't know how nefarious it was, is what I'm saying.
no, but
I'm
like
not
with the whole,
denying that they were doing it. I'm saying, but their intention though, we don't know their intention.
but
It's
with like the
impossible.
Monroe Institute stuff though, like you don't think that there's some credence to that using the methods that they used?
Uh, I think it's definitely something we should investigate, like in a more active way. I mean, Josh is far more advanced with recording arts than I am, but all three of us are,
We
have
should all
some
do.
experience. We should experiment and get our hands on some EEG audio and
That'd be dope.
experiment with creating our own binaural series of audio for, you know, I, there are ways to record EEG audio at home too. So the goal is at the very least to find somebody who claims that they recorded EEG under the influence of certain substances or during certain experiences. So you can, create, uh, or at least, experiment with the idea of creating a more specialized binaural, pattern. Because the idea is, and I haven't confirmed this yet, but one of Doma's friends, one of her oldest friends, is an EEG tech here in Southern California, and I have yet to talk to her yet, but I'm sure I will be able to soon, to find out, if this is true. But the theory is brain waves not only move in cycles, but are sympathetic to other brain waves. So if you play a brainwave pattern, like uh, an audio expression of that pattern to, through headphones to a human brain, is it going to sync up? You know what I mean? And if it does, we could essentially be creating a safe way for people to change their state of consciousness without ingesting any kind of foreign chemicals
Well,
by just, I mean,
Josh
I'm
and I
not going
have,
to go take a bunch of drugs again, but I'm sure we could go find people that have, one, taken drugs while, during an EEG, session, and retrieve that audio. Because I feel like a lot of times if somebody would do that, it would, I mean, I would want it to be open source for,
Well, Josh and I have
for
talked
anybody
about this
that's studying.
before, where the recording industry records in a lower frequency. Am I right, Josh? And it increases.
So we record in 441 to 448 hertz. Okay, it used to. So before before the 1950s, there was no industry standard for what recordings were going to be in, and they used to be in 432 hertz. A lot of them commonality.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I've always thought of it just like a conspiracy theory that people made up about classical music, because I think it was just a standardization for classical musicians to be able to tune to each other.
In the different hertz, you're right. There are different tunings, and your instruments will be tuned differently. An standard E scale in 432 will be different than standard E in 441. Okay, so you're right about that.
You know what it sounds like to me? Anytime I ever hear stuff like that, it sounds like the unison is off or something like that.
But with that, I'm gonna have to cut this episode off here, and I have a feeling we'll probably continue this one on the next episode of Highway Robbery, but we're out of time for today. So that's it, guys. Thanks for joining us for Passed Out. If you have not liked and subscribed yet, please do. It helps the channel immensely. Keep listening. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, dudes. Super sick.